Today we're going to be looking at why Aliens sucks. So, if you've been living under some kind of movie-proof dome for the last 4 decades, Aliens is a film franchise that started with a sci-fi slasher movie in 1979. The plot to each movie is the same. Humans are somewhere in space doing working-class human stuff. Those same humans, usually through feckless numbskullery, end up stumbling upon an ancient evil. The ancient evil infects one or more humans, thus creating the titular alien creatures. The big bad company that for some reason runs everything in the future is revealed to want these aliens for some reason, and orchestrated the humans running into them. The rest of the humans die horribly, except one or two who make it out, usually by blowing stuff up or out. Roll credits. Well, let's start with the film that began it all. The original Ridley Scott film follows a bunch of blue-collar space teamsters and their inexplicably dirty, steamy, and dripping wet spaceship. They get diverted by Weyland-Yutani, the company. To go to some moon or other, the Teamsters find a crashed ship and a bunch of eggs, which naturally Quentin Crisp wants to poke. It goes blip and spits out a hand-cum spider thing that attaches itself to the Elephant Man's face with its tickly fingers. So the ship's medical weirdo, Bilbo Baggins, goes meat morp and insists that Caligula come on board. He studies the tickle monster and clearly works out that it's bad. After a bit, it gets bored and falls off and dies. Thus endeth the saga of the tickle monster. The humans sit down to a well-earned supper before Hazel starts going a humana and then pops. Turns out the tickle monster left a little friend behind, which has now woken from its nap and it is cranky. The little squirt vacates John Hurt and whips away over the table as fast as a puppet on a wire. Bummer. The crew then try various things to find the alien and kill it, all whilst Sam Musabini stands in the background tenting his fingers and chuckling. Unfortunately for them, the alien has never studied physics. Despite eating nothing, it becomes 50 times bigger, standing well over 7 feet tall. It kills a man in a hat who's taking a shower under some swinging chains. It kills the captain with extreme peekaboo when he goes into the air vents to find it. It nibbles on another guy's head more than is good for him. Lastly, it gets tired of a lady, canonically trans. Yay! It gets tired of her because she's done nothing but blub since the start of the film and it kills her too. All that's left is Dana Barrett and she ain't afraid of no ghosts. And also Polonius was revealed to be a robot working for the company, dun dun dun, to capture the alien for reasons. They smack him upside the head a bit and his head falls off and milk goes everywhere, and then they burn him whilst he smirks like a ghoul. Pausing only to collect her cat. Yeah. She sets the big smelly spaceship to go boom while she runs to the escape pod. The ship goes bang, not once, not twice, but thrice before Diane Fossey notices that the alien snuck into the escape pod with her, and it's now having a crafty nap on the table. A scamp! She scuttles off to the cupboard to get a spacesuit. The alien does a big yawn. Oh, he's all tuckered out, and then gets a rude awakening when Dr. Augustine blows a load of steam right up its nether regions. The big critter is naturally cheesed off by all of this, but she opens the pod bay door and kicks the alien out. It tries to get back in by climbing into the rocket booster, which goes about as well for it as you would imagine. Roll credits. Okay, so snarkiness aside, Alien, 1979, is a fine movie. It's thrilling, it's exciting, it's unusual, it's a slasher film in space. Ridley Scott gives the future a grimy, smoky, grubby look. The people there are just bods. They're trying to do their jobs. The spaces they occupy are messy, and humans are obviously being just as polluted and slovenly amongst the stars as we were down on Earth. The characters are likeable, and for the most part act tolerably sensibly. Nobody does anything outrageously stupid. The creature itself sets a new bar for horror by its outrageous, albeit impractical, life cycle. So, Alien, 1979. That one's okay. Yeah, we'll keep that one. That one goes in the box. That one's safe. Next up is Aliens, 1986. This time, there's more than one. Believe it or not, Robert Ripley's space pod got found a few decades later. She was in hyper mega super duper sleep and awakens to find that the company, dun dun dun, has started a colony on that crummy moon from the first movie. Based on what she tells them, they send some prospectors out to the spaceship and they promptly lose contact with the whole operation. And then they're like, lady, we're sending some army men to go have a look-see. Would you go with them and let them know what's what? Why not? Sure enough, they get to the joint and everybody's dead, Dave. All except a poor girl who can't remember if she's British or American. Newt, as she's known, becomes Ripley's pet/surrogate daughter. The army men, erstwhile, have gone down into the basement to see what kind of neat stuff they have down there. It turns out it's a bunch of aliens. Also, the basement is where the company, dun dun dun, keep their big nuclear reactor thingy. The boys can't use their guns or else it'll go bang. bomb! Some of them die, but the rest escape, and in the process, their space vehicle that gets them back and forth from the surface to their ship up in orbit goes kablooey. Now they're trapped, and once it gets dark, the aliens will come looking for them. The rest of the film is kinda an extended fight chase sequence. It turns out the company, dun dun dun, man who came with them was trying to capture the aliens for his own adult reasons. Most of the characters die, Newt gets newt-napped by an alien, so Rippers sellotapes some guns together and goes to get her back. On the way, she meets the alien queen, who is most definitely not amused. Bishop, their robot pal, uses his robot ways to bring another escape vehicle down from their ship. They all bundle into it. Back up in orbit, they realize the queen has stowed along for the ride when she impales Bishop. Rippers blows this one out the airlock as well. Job done. She's faced down her monster. Newt has a new mum. Hicks, the army man, made it through, and Bishop is probably repairable? He might get better. Roll credits. Okay. Aliens, 1986. It's also a good film. Possibly better than the first one. Ellen Ripley's arc is brought to a close, and even though her biological daughter died while she was in cryosleep, she now has Newt. Much better. Many adventures, all thanks to Newt. Newt has a found family, with the most charming of the army guys being a sort of dad, and Ellen's her new mummy. Bishop proved he was lovely. Not like Ash in Alien 1. Oh no, Ash was bad. We don't like Ash. We like Bishop though. Bishop's lovely. He's like a cool uncle or something. It's less a chiller and more a straight sci-fi action romp. Aliens is a good night out. Alright. And we'll keep that one too. That one goes in the box. That one's safe. 2 whole films, I hear you ask. But I thought we were throwing them all in the bin. No! Those 2 are staying put. It's what comes after that we need to seriously talk about. Alien 3, 1992, the three inning, is sadly not about 3 aliens who try to perform a simple task before failing and turning upon each other in a blur of slapstick tomfoolery. Oh, I wish it was. See, by this point, Aliens had proven itself as a franchisable intellectual property. Whilst Kenner were making toys and a pilot cartoon was in the works because, you know, an 18-rated film is naturally what we want to sell to children, the studio wanted more. More! More! They got some scripts written. They didn't really like them. Then they got some more written. They didn't really like them either. And then they just kind of threw some stuff together. Sigourney didn't want to come back, so insisted that her character had to die in this one. They couldn't remember who they got to play Newt, so they had to kill her character off. They didn't care about Hicks, so he died too. Bishop turns up briefly, but don't worry, he dies very quickly as well. I bet you all feel pretty stupid now, don't you? Caring about these characters and whatnot. Well, they're all dead. Dead, I tells ya. Okay, so this time round, we have Rippers, Newters, Hickers, and Bishers, all flying back to Earth in their little spaceship or whatever, but it goes auugh. It looks like one of those pesky tickle monsters got on board too. When did that happen, I hear you ask? Off screen, so it doesn't need to make sense. Shut up, they took the bus, okay? The ship goes dee-noo, and ejects everyone in a pod, which crashes on a lovely, friendly planet full of teddy bears and... I'm kidding. It crashes on the same kind of planet they always crash on. It's grey, raining, constant gale force winds, no plants, and it's somehow both muddy and dusty. Hicks died in the crash. Check. Newt died in the crash. Check. Apparently, they crashed on a prison planet. The prisoners there live in a sort of weird monastic commune, which is a byproduct of a rejected script idea. One of the tickle monsters gets loose and infects either a dog or an ox, depending whether you're watching the original or director's cut. And thus sets off a kind of rehash of Alien 1, but this time the alien walks on all 4s because it was conceived inside a 4-legged animal. Aww. We get some, frankly, ghoulish, voyeuristic autopsy scenes where Rippers checks Newt for signs of tickle monster face tickling. She plugs Bishop into the mains to get him to work again, and he says some stuff before she unplugs him, and he's dead too now, right? Everyone got that? The robot man you like is gone. He's not coming back. Just like the pretty little girl and the nice army man. Dead. Get it? Got it? Good. No, the other nice robot man. Not that one. No, he's fine. He's fine. He's on holiday in Riser. Rippers takes the trippers to the medical bay and finds a nipper of a tickler hiding near her ticker. Somehow, the tickle monsters got onto the ship and one infected her. The rest were killed in the crash, except the one that made the new 4-legged alien. She has days, maybe only hours, before the one in her will choose to put in an appearance, and it's a queen. So people get killed, they try to catch the dog/ox alien, which, like, they use a net or something, and then they pour hot metal on it, which really ticks it off. Then they pour cold water on it, which makes it shatter. You know, like if you run a glass under the hot tap, and then switch it to the cold tap, and then the glass breaks. Aliens are made of the same stuff. They're made out of drinking glasses. That's what they're made out of. So it goes crack. Behold, the perfect organism! At this point, the company, dun dun dun, turns up and the guy who runs the company looks like Bishop. Ripper nopes her way out of there, having no intention of letting these weirdos get their hands on the baby queen that's playing skee-ball with her gallbladder. She jumps into the molten metal, what the hell a vat of molten metal is doing in an ostensibly agrarian prisoner society, I have no idea, and dies! Yay! In the original cut, the queen pops out of her just low enough to see the boiling metal. In the director's cut, Ripper's just dies. Right here, we cover everyone there. Ripper's dead, killed by the monster she defeated whilst completing her character arc in the last movie. Yum! Satisfying. Newt, dead, killed off screen for narrative reasons after completing her character arc in the last movie. Yum yum! Satisfying, yeah. Hicks, dead. Bishop, deadly bobs. Paul McGann and various other Brit actors playing the prisoners, they all be mostly dead too. Dog alien, popped its clogs. Queen alien, pushing up the daisies. That's some satisfying writing right there. No notes, roll the credits, and everyone will go home happier, wiser, and, you know, perhaps even a little bit better people. Yeah, no, this one's Pixwell. There are some interesting ideas and none of them are developed. The deaths of everyone save Ripley in the first 4 minutes is just gratuitous. I mean, they couldn't have survived but been shipped off to a hospital or back to Earth or something. You know, that way they'd still not be in the movie, but we, the audience, wouldn't feel like a bunch of suckers either. No? No, they had to die. Putting that to one side, Alien 3 is the start of a trend towards sameness. Hey, remember that first movie? Let's kind of do that again. The setting should be smoky, grimy, smelly and janky, and the people there should be uncouth, rough and lowlife. And the alien itself is just going to hang around in dark shadows waiting to bite people. Because this is our third outing too. It's also hard to not begin asking questions. Donald, who is that? Like, these aliens, okay? They just seem to murder people, rather than capturing them for food or as hosts for reproduction. And what's with the whole parasitoid, nymph, tickle monster, facehugger stage? Isn't that just a massive waste of resources? I mean, the aliens are based on certain wasps that lay their eggs in caterpillars. But the wasps don't give birth to an entirely separate animal first to do that. It goes, wasp makes egg goes in caterpillar, larva hatches and eats caterpillar, larva pupates into wasp. There isn't a whole other random animal in the middle of that process, like wasp makes egg hatches into leopard lays another egg in a caterpillar, etc. And another thing, how does the alien see, given that it doesn't have any eyes? Shouldn't it bump into rather more coffee tables than it does? Right, now, before the alien fanboys, they're always man, before the alien fanboys jump in to mansplain to me that, actually all this stuff is explained in the comics and in the books and in this game that was only released for the Nokia 3310 in 1993, you know what, that's fine. Go be free and enjoy all of that stuff, by all means. But you must concede, there are a lot of weird things in these films that you only start to notice and think about after they've hung around for too long. I mean, I've no doubt that, yeah, issue 893 of The Amazing Brain Bums of Venus included a canon short story, Tim the Xenomorph, and his amazing sock collection that explained all of this, but had to really do some gymnastics to get all the pieces to fit. It has no eyes, but sees by pheromones and heat. Okay, but coffee tables don't emit either of those things, so maybe it has eyes, but its sight's just not so great? What, so it evolved to detect pheromones, then walked into a bollard and banged its knee, so quickly knocked up some half-baked eyes? Or did it start with the rubbish eyes, then decided to learn to detect pheromones because that's better for avoiding falling down manholes? Would you listen? And why did the company, dun dun dun, want this thing anyway? For our biological weapons division. Eh? This creature has done exactly the same thing every time you tried to catch it, 3 times now. Wouldn't just making a plank with a nail in it be a more useful weapons research project than an unpredictable monster that kills everything it meets? Apart from cats. Maybe it has toxoplasmosis. And wasn't there that deleted scene in the first movie as well, where the alien was cocooning the people it captured to turn them into eggs? I mean, that's fine, it's a deleted scene. We know it's actually the queen that lays the eggs, right? Except that deleted scene ended up being referenced in the comics. And the books, and now it has to be canon too, if all that other stuff is. Its life cycle fundamentally just doesn't make any sense. Nothing about these movies actually makes sense. You see what happens when your film hangs around for too long and gives you a chance to start thinking about what you're seeing. Alien 4, The Rebumming, showed up in 1997, subtitled Resurrection. The company, dun dun dun, want the alien for blah 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 white noise. Several decades after Alien 3, the original bumming, they bioengineered them. Hooray! This will end so well. They did this by extracting Ripley's DNA from the molten metal. Okay, that's not how molten metal works. And cloning her. Yay! Rippers is back! Sigourney must have wanted a new pool. But cloning her also cloned the queen alien within her. Now they ended up with a bunch of new aliens. And a new queen. Rippers is a bit more alien-y than before. She's now permanently sweaty, can dunk basketballs real good, and has mildly acidic blood. Oh noes! To the max! The aliens get out. Death! Running away, escape, near misses, thrills, and spills ensue. Whilst that goes on, the new queen is having a baby. Oh, isn't that nice? Somehow she doesn't lay eggs anymore because of Ripley's DNA and is up the spout like a human. Or maybe she lays eggs too. Like, in addition? Whatever. So she has a baby, which is fully grown and looks like a skeleton dipped in oatmeal. It takes umbrage at its mother, knocks her block off, and then eats some guy's head who's nearby. Fine, I guess. You do you, little alien dude. This newborn hybrid what's-it kills some more people, thinks Ripley's its mother, and Rippers kills it by blowing it out the airlock. Well, not exactly the airlock, but kinda. A tiny hole in the ship's hull violently shreds it and sucks it out into space. There's more to it, but that is like 90% of it, to be honest. Also, the original hybrid was going to have a dong. And a bajingo. Whoa, Nelly. That would have been pretty fun and weird. Am I right? Nah, it would have sucked. As well as being dumb and repetitive, the fourth film in the tetralogy, not quadrilogy, manages to introduce two new problems. Good for it. The first is the tendency of the films to become increasingly gruesome. The previous installments all had their moments of violence and gore, but this was the point where it really felt like someone was just saying, okay guys, let me hear all the grossest things you can think of and we'll work them in. The more sex-oriented, the better. The second is, somehow, making the aliens themselves even more mixed up and confusing. On top of all the previous moments that started peeping over the garden fence around Alien 3, we now have a bunch more. Do hosts, absorb some of the aliens' DNA? And that's how cloning Ripley brought back the Queen too, and made her sweaty and good at basketball? From this point on, will all aliens be a bit like humans then? Or are there still some original recipe aliens out in the universe? If the hybrid felt closer to Ripley, still 99.9% human, than an alien, which is 99.9% not human, and thus killed the Queen that birthed it, why did it then go on to randomly murder humans? Shouldn't it have wanted to be pals? Hang out with us? Let's be clear, you and I, best beloved, we both know the answer to these questions. We thought it'd be cool and gross and stuff and didn't really think about it. In fairness, I can work with that answer. That's okay. But at that point, we do know we're talking about a trash movie, don't we? Like, true motion picture magic has gone out of the window at this point. It's just people birthing horrible creatures, others getting their heads bitten off, and others dying in various unspeakable ways. It's not about telling a coherent story anymore, is it? It's just like a Mad Lib sick bag horror. But did this end the franchise and its increasingly tiresome baloney? Of course not. Oh, there's nothing so bad as it can't get worse. Enter Aliens vs. Predator 2004, which feels like a warning sent back in time from the future to prevent the invention of cinema, but that got lost en route and ended up at your local multiplex. This time around, hang on to your hats, folks, an expedition to the North Pole or the South Pole, I forget, it finds an ancient underground pyramid. The humans go down and have a sniff about, but oh my god, there are aliens down there! Tickle monsters, chests exploding, aliens killing people, humans running around like dipsticks. See, this time, the humans have found an ancient hunting ground for the predator creatures. You know, from that movie, Predator, 1987? The Get to the Chopper one. And its follow-up, Predator 2, even more predating, 1990. Predators showed humans how to build pyramids because, guess we'd never imagined triangles before. And in return, ancient civilizations would send some humans to be sacrificed. And it seems fair. Triangles, you say? Yeah, why not? You show us these triangles and we'll let you kill some of us regularly. Forever. The predators would stuff the humans down into the underground to birth some aliens. Then the predators would hunt the aliens and have a jolly old time doing it. Be very, very quiet. So, predators show up. Humans are mostly just killed in pointless ways. One or two escape. Oh no, one of them was working for the company. Dun dun dun. Blah blah blah. Pew pew bang splat. Imagine a child holding two plastic alien toy figures and banging them into each other whilst going, grr, arg, I'll get you. No, I'll get you. And that is far more enjoyable than Aliens vs Predator. It's not quite as grotesque as Alien 4, or indeed AVP 2, but it is stupid and loud and annoying. Are we bored of this franchise yet? Unfortunately, overhearing a conversation about how far these films have fallen since their halcyon days, Alien vs Predator 2, 2007, asked a friend to hold its drink. Right. So at the end of AVP, one of the predators got infected, and a half alien, half predator popped out of it, okay? This is despite the predators having and using technology that allowed them to very easily detect infected hosts and euthanize them. I guess they forgot about it, or it was on the blink. Anyways, the pred alien does that clever thing where it eats nothing yet somehow grows to like 9 feet tall. It kills the predators and crashes their ship next to Bumswizzle, North Oak, Nebraska, USA, or somewhere functionally indistinguishable. And there are some tickle monsters too, but I forget where they came from. It doesn't matter. A bunch of humans team up to try and survive whilst the aliens kill everyone in voyeuristically ghastly and tasteless ways. At the end, the government nukes the place, like in the second movie, when they say take off and nuke the site from orbit. You know, that other much better movie that I probably shouldn't be reminding you of because it will juxtapose with this one and highlight just how wrist-slittingly awful it is. Like, little kids get infected and burst open, pregnant women get their embryos eaten from the inside. It just leaves you wondering if the creators of this monstrosity are genuinely sadistic psychopaths. Thank God this one was so bad that the studios couldn't sanction more. The AVP franchise dropped dead in its tracks and has mercifully never been reanimated. Everyone, keep an eye on Jeffrey Combs! Ah, but the first two films, they were good, weren't they? They did make a Laura money, didn't they? Wouldn't you like to maybe do those again? What if we got Diddly Doodly Scott back? Maybe Film Man will make Film Good watch for us, yes? AVP was dead, but not Aliens. 20th Century Watervole drove a dump truck full of money to Scott's house and he agreed to make the 7th movie in the franchise, Prometheus 2012. The British kook was set to return to the alien universe and finally answer that one burning, intractable question that we have been asking for 40 years since that first film flickered into life on the screen. Yes, at long last. The origin story of a body in one scene. When the Teamsters in the first film go into the abandoned ship, but before John Hurt gets a face full of alien wing-wang, they happen upon a strange humanoid corpse that seems to have been a biomechanical part of the ship. The desiccated skeleton's chest bones are bent outward, ominously. That's foreshadowing. That right there, that's foreshadowing. It's called foreshadowing with the bones and the bending outwards. Foreshadowing, it's like a hint about something coming up later. It foreshadows it. Foreshadowing, that's what that's called. Because everyone who saw that film apparently came away saying, yeah, it was okay, but who was that guy with the sitting in the chair and the being a skeleton? Did he like asparagus? What was his inside leg measurement? What did he think of the Star Wars prequels? Does he prefer his salmon skin on or skin off? Prometheus takes everything from before. The stupidity, the vapid characters, the pointlessly gruesome violence and body horror, and cleverly wraps it all up in a ponderously joyless 2 hours of ecclesiastical navel-gazing. Scott decided that the only reasons anyone had for liking Alien were the horrible things the alien did to human bodies and idiots dying idiotically. He swung around to the amp and dialed both of those up to 11, baby. So, in the near future, Dr. Shaw is a lady. And a doctor of something, maybe history, I don't care. She finds some cave paintings that depict stars, and then some other paintings that depict stars in a different part of the world. Based on this, she deduces it's a map, an intentional map to, like, God, or the creators of humanity, or some smug goofballery like that. I mean, we can agree if nothing else that space is big, okay? It's called space, not bijou. Based on some crude cave drawings, this person is planning to travel through space for 1 billion miles and actually get somewhere in particular? Man, that's dumb. That's like me giving you precise directions to an exact geo-coordinate in someone's sock drawer in Timbuktu, and doing this by just drawing 3 socks on the back of a postage stamp in luggage marker. Somehow, this crackpot proposal gets the backing of Mr. Wayland of Wayland Yutani, the company, Dun, dun, dun! You know, from the other movies. Yeah, there you go. I like that, don't you? So, they fund and build a spaceship called Prometheus, because that guy's story ended so well for him. And off they fly. Off they fly to the next moon over from the moon in the other movies. You know, the planet in Alien 1 and Alien 2. It's the next one over. Yeah, there you go. And there they find another bloody pyramid. Ugh. And also a spaceship. But it's like the one in the first movie. Happy? Happy. Yeah, I know what you're wondering. How long's this gonna go on for? They map the pyramid using like laser balls or some rubbish, and then these two scientists get lost, despite, you may recall from the previous sentence, laser ball mapping, which clearly creates a 3D image for the team to use. They meet up with a hammerhead worm dick monster thing and try to pet it. No, really. It kills them and it goes into one of their mouths. No reason. It just does. It doesn't do anything once it's there. Nothing happens while it's there. It just does it, you know? Like oral rape. Like the tickle monsters do. You know? Those other movies. Good. We're back. Inside the pyramid is some black goo. It's some sort of bioweapon, but its powers are unclear, is putting it mildly. One early scene shows us a race of human-like aliens using the black goo, TM, to seed life on Earth. It also mutated the local earthworm creatures into the hammerhead worm dick monster for reasons? It mutates one of the scientists into a kind of baboon, but like a baboon that's gone bad. It attacks the other humans and they kill it, or it trips over and dies or something, I forget. Meanwhile, the ship's robot, David, is up to mischief. Like the other robot in the first movie, the Bilbo bot. The Billbot, if you will. Yeah, that one. We like stuff we've seen before, didn't we? He takes some of the black goo and infects Shaw's boy toy with it. It kind of gives him the flu a bit, but then he boinks Shaw and she's suddenly pregnant. Yup, we're doing that pseudo-sexual pregnancy body horror stuff. In a very uncomfortable to watch scene, she undergoes an emergency extraction and a mechanical arm removes a sort of squid thing from her. Squid thing is cross. Run she must. That's the end of Squid Thing's ballad for now, but it'll be back later. Yeah, it's Chekhov's Squid Thing. One of those humanoid alien engineer dudes is still alive and he starts killing people. Mr. Whalen tries to high-five it and it kills him good, then it rips off David's head. Some other people probably die too, like... I think Idris Elba was there as the Prometheus captain. He and his crew do a suicide run and all die. Yeah, deep. Charlize Theron, in a groundbreaking role as a white South African blonde with a personality defect, runs about a bit and gets squished by a rolling spaceship. The engineer bloke finds the squid thing, which has now grown to an enormous size, and they get busy. In a non-consensual kind of way. Shaw picks up David's head and they decide to travel the universe looking for the engineers in their world. Then the last thing we see is the engineer dying when a creature that looks a lot like the alien from the first movie blurps out of him. Roll credits! At this point, it is just like watching a car accident. Each time I think, well, it can't possibly be more confusing and stupid than the last time. And each time, boy, those filmmakers sure show me. If you're trying to keep up, bless you for a hero. The aliens come from eggs, which are laid by a queen. Well, unless it's from an egg that's made from someone in a cocoon. And the aliens don't come from eggs. They come from, like, DNA stuff that the fingery, spidery tickle monster thing injects into a host through their mouth. And it's those guys that come from the eggs. They just kind of murder people or drag them off to be hosts. But you see, there's also the black goo. Yes, the goo that's black. This makes people into baboon monsters, except when it doesn't. And it makes ladies have babies, and the babies are squiddly diddly. And then those squiddly diddlies can inject DNA stuff like the tickle monsters, but not exactly, and that makes things like aliens. Kind of. All this utter bilge is packaged up in po-faced seriousness with a grim tone ribbon, like a neatly wrapped Scandi noir true crime story. Except that the characters are all complete nincompoops who act like they recently donated their whole brains to medical science. It turns out Squiddly Scott didn't know how to save the franchise, which is a shame. Because 20th Century Wombat really love franchises. Oh, they love them so dearly. Especially the parts where the money comes in. Then they can roll around in the money. And they can throw money at each other and giggle like school children. Oh, they love those parts more than anything. Great McGillicuddy. So, then they made a sequel to whatever the heck Prometheus was. Ugh. But don't worry, because this time they definitely knew what the problem was. It wasn't gruesome or nihilistic enough. Well, we've got you covered this time, old buddy, old pal, old Scoob. Alien Covenant 2017 follows a colony ship, the Covenant, burping its way through the cosmos to get to, I don't know, Lewisham or something. They get hit by a meteor storm and it's quite the to-do. There's damage and the original captain's dead, and they pick up a transmission from this lovely sounding robot man called David. He says he has some just lovely things to show them, and animals, popcorn and balloons, all colours. And they float too. They all float. They go to the David planet, Planet Dave, if you will. They walk about a bit without any space helmets, because, like, what even is a germ? I've never seen one. It seems that David and Shaw discovered the planet of the engineers, and then David killed them all. It's not clear why. He's just a dick. He killed Shaw too, in case you were worried about having to, like, you know, care about a character or whatever. She be dead, and he be using her for some of his experiments. Experiments to create the perfect organism. Like in the first film, that's what the Billbot calls the alien. Yeah, good, sorry to slow you down. Whilst this unfolds like the world's least welcome origami trick, some of the peeps from the Covenant are sick. Spores got into them. Ho, ho, ho. It's time to show them all that the chest-bursting scene from 1979 has finally been topped. And the topping of that scene is the only reason this film is happening and why anyone would want to see it, we assume. Like, this little white goblin guy pops out of one guy's back and then another out of another dude's neck. While we're here, here's another thing. How long is this stupid process meant to take? In Alien 1, it took hours, like maybe days. By the time of AVP, it seems to take about 20 minutes. Except when it doesn't, except when it does, whatever is more dramatic. No, wait, no, not that. We'll explain it in like a comic or something. It'll be fine. Also, whilst I have you in this headspace, does nobody notice these quite large creatures growing inside them? Or is the implication that they're just fine and then all of a sudden, pop, it just happens all at once? Because Covenant really makes it look like it's an all-at-once sort of deal, which just raises more questions. These things are meant to be alien, not magic. Right, yeah. Goblin things. They kill some people nobody cares about. The Covenant's robot man, Walter, who is a duplicate of David, tries to help. David manages to infect someone with a tickle monster, which creates pretty much the xenomorph we all know from the other films. You know, from the other films, the humans escape on a space vehicle and book it back to the Covenant to leave orbit and head back for whatever it was they were aiming for originally. It was too many scenes ago. No living human being could possibly remember. Oh noes! It's not Walter that they've come back with. It's David! And he's a dick! He smuggled some embryo tickle monsters on board, and now that everyone is in cryo sleep, he's going to do something, I don't know. Roll credits. So, the alien in Alien 1 is from a species created by David, but that ship they found in Alien 1 is thousands of years old. Also, why do the tickle monsters suddenly come in embryo form now? Isn't it eggs? It's eggs, isn't it? And spores. Wait, so why are there spores now? David did that with the black goo. But it turned Mr. Man into a baboon and made Science Lady pregnant. Why did it make flowers do spores? And why is there no queen? Don't they need a queen? It's a tax thing. Why is David such an asshat? Also, somebody should have referred to Walter as Walter the Wobot. I can't do everything for these people. Here we are then. Black goo, spores, stuff, things, and people who die horribly. Did we make the good movie yet? Why not? Ugh, just like Jason in that Halloween on Elm Street movie. Whenever you think he's dead, you look back and the body is mysteriously gone, ready to come back for another sequel. God. Well, here we are in 2024, and scuttling towards the streaming services is Alien Romulus. Don't you worry, kids, we've definitely ironed out all the problems now. We know exactly what was missing from the last 6 attempts. Digital necromancy. Buckle up, cowpokes. Our story starts on planet Bumswizzle 6, or Bumswizzle 5. It's whichever one we marooned Khan on. Rain is hanging out with her nice robot man brother. Brother, if you will. She and this little cadre of assholes she knows discover there's a derelict ship coming into orbit, and if they can nab some cryosleep chambers, they'll be able to blow this popsicle stand. The company, dun dun dun, own Bumswizzle 6 and are forcing everyone to toil underground in the flat cap mines or something. Our heroes can escape that fate, so they hop onto a little spaceship that they just happen to, have, and they go up into orbit. Why does nobody stop them? From the company, dun dun dun, that wants to keep them as indentured slaves. Why does nobody else go after this derelict ship? Shut up, that's why. The arsehole associates brought Rain because they wanted her to bring Ro Brother. As a robot, he'll be able to interface with the doors and locks and stuff. They have no intention of taking him with them after that and are quite clear about this and what they think of him. Hey you, Mr. Stupid Robot Man, we're only using you to get into this ship. Then we're leaving you behind because you're gay and smelly and we hate you. Now help us, please. Yeah, that's a solid plan, no notes. Upon arrival, it seems it wasn't a spaceship, but rather a station. Why was it floating through the cosmos? I don't know. It's in two halves, Romulus and Remus. This is not important and makes no impact on anything. Whilst bumbling around, they switch on some stuff which activates the tickle monsters. The little tickly tykes attack and manage to boink one of the gang. You'll never guess which one because we put her on the poster with the alien rape monster on her face. Oh, you'll be so surprised when you work it out. Yes, you will. Whilst that's all, percolating, the get-along gang meet Rook. Rook is a charming abomination unto the Lord, whereby Bilbo Baggins from the first movie, you remember the first movie? The DiCaprio reaction gif and stuff? Yeah, that's good. He's now had his dead visage digitally slapped onto some wanker. And now we got AI to do his voice. Ha! Back in the old days, you had to go outside with a shovel to rob graves. Oh, the modern world is a wonder. Billbot 2 explains that they've been out in space for 20 years looking for the alien from Alien 1, whom they dubbed Big Chap. Ignoring the lunacy of finding a person-sized creature drifting in all the vastness of space over 20 years of drift and as good as random movement from micro-asteroid collisions, they managed to find Big Chap. However, the face full of rocket that Big Chap got in Alien 1 didn't slow him down. Neither did 20 years in space. Nor did 20 years with no food or water. God, these movies are so cretinous. Big Chap woke up and killed most of the people on board. They finally subdued it, as evidenced by its corpse neatly hanging from the ceiling, but its acidic blood burnt a hole in the floor and caused all manner of problems. Also, it made more tickle monsters. Or Billbot 2 did. See, it's not really clear. He was trying to extract the black goo TM from Big Chap to fulfill Mr. Wayland's, of the company, dun dun dun, dream of immortality. I mean, this is serious Skeletor territory, isn't it now? I'm going to tie this rope around He-Man's leg and then tie the other end to an arrow and then shoot the arrow at the moon. And then the moon's gravitational pull will pull He-Man into the clutches of my giant clockwork squid. Billbot 2's role as exposition bot is now completed, and enough vague baloney allusions to previous movies have been woven in amongst the loose threads and rotting pilchards. So our team have to escape.
The same procedure as last year, Miss Sophie?
Same procedure as every year, James.
In addition to the new alien, there's a bunch of other aliens, hiding in the cellar, like in that other movie. It's unclear if these are the progeny of Big Chap or Billbot 2's magical mystery goo. Blah, blah, run, run. Oh no, pregnant lady got captured. I'm sure this won't get weird and gruesome. Also, we're in a dangerous place, a spaceship, so we can't fire our guns, just like in that other movie, so we have no choice but to fire our guns in zero gravity, mild man's a mushroom, etc. They're pretty much free at the end, but pregnant lady got badly bonked. Luckily, they have some of that black goo, TM. Surely that will help. The backdrop of all of this is the false jeopardy of the station's failing orbit, whereby it's shortly going to crash bang wallop into the planet's rings. All that Nimrod's Anonymous need to do to get off the station is to use the little spaceship that they came on. Haha, twist though, it turns out that black goo TM they gave pregnant lady did some stuff. Weird stuff. She's okay, mostly, but she's now like super pregnant, and she gives birth to it, and it's like an egg, man, an egg. Rain grabs it and runs off, presumably to flush it down the toilet or whatever, but she stumbles and it rolls away. It peeps open and what looks like a human baby is within, then it falls down a hole. Naturally, she has to go and find it, and equally naturally in the space of 2 or 3 minutes, it's grown to about 10 foot tall. The creature is another hybrid, like in that other movie! With a human face, a tail, a biomechanical load of bobbins on its back, and a sort of bitey tongue thing, it's also naturally murderous. Seriously, why is everything in these movies just a Jack the Ripper analogue? This thing is about 5 minutes old, and already all it wants to do is violently kill whilst grinning like a bloody ape. Why? That's not how any living creatures work. It's how B-movie slasher flick monsters work. How did two genuinely great movies come down to this silliness? Hybrid thing kills now not pregnant lady and drinks her blood. Blue. Rain gets it to fall down a hole, and it gets some bad owies from the planet's rings. Lastly, they eject the cargo pod it's in, with Rain scrambling to safety and the hybrid thing is killed. Or not, or whatever. I mean, we all thought Big Chap was dead, right? Rain and Roe Brother head off together to new adventures, roll credits. Seriously, Big Chap. Just call him Big Daddy and wrap him in a Union flag and be done with it. Also, hey, you remember that first movie with the awesome ending where Rippers blew it out the airlock? Turns out she didn't do squat. It was fine. Just biding its time, baby. Bet you didn't think we could retroactively screw things up anymore after Alien 3, didn't ya? Boy, did we show you. And why Billbot 2, you ask? Why not just a different character? It didn't need to be Billbot. There was no reason to use Billbot. Honestly, damned if I know. Something peculiar about legacy sequels, I guess. Some people don't have a problem with it. I do. It's needless. And as a result, it stands out badly. Also, the deepfake effect isn't great. I think it looks creaky, and it only came out a couple of months ago. In 5 years' time, it's going to look bad. Every time I think they have mined every character, every moment from every film, every time I think there's not another drop of acidic blood they can possibly squeeze from this critter, well, the studio just shows up with a bigger lemon juicer and the blood just keeps on dripping. From Alien the 3 onwards, these films have just retrodden the same uninspiring story. They've gotten more needlessly and voyeuristically gruesome, like that's some sort of meaningful achievement that must be met to finally match the quality of the first two. The characters have gotten more poorly sketched, and all of it is hung together with an ever more muddled and nonsensical lore and gratuitous, hey, remember that moment? Yeah, you remember that? It's the thing with the GIF. For the love of God, let this franchise die. Make something new. Alien was new once. That's part of why it was so effective. It's not even that gory. It's just different and unexpected. Do that. And leave old Bilbo alone. We know his wife was okay with it, and that's good that you asked her and everything. But reanimating dead actors to replay roles from 40 years ago is just needless and weird, and as a result, it just comes off as gross. This is Kaylee, last survivor of the I Hate Aliens Club, signing off.